Hari Om, Pranamvi. Um, Master, today I would like to get your perspective on music. Like in today's reality, we see music mostly used for entertainment, but there has been a deep connect between music and spirituality. So, if you can share your perspective on how music connects with divinity.
Hmm. Okay, it's a good thing, Vinita, that we are discussing about music because music is like the spirit of the whole the universe, and everything is music. Everything, like whatever we speak is also music. Whatever is in the nature is also music, because when we speak of music, music means we are talking about the sounds. So the sound of river, the sound of leaves, the sound of words, the sound of the animals, the birds. So everything is sound, because sound is frequency, sound is light, light is also frequency, so light is also sound, sound is also light. So everything is based on frequency. So if you will see, people had been talking about how they have to speak in terms of energy, frequency, vibration, you know, but people have forgotten the fact that there is a sound that is coming out of their mouth also. Okay, so there is a sound, and sound is something which you produce from your mouth. You create, you listen with your earthly ears, the earthly sounds that are. So but the sound cannot be seen. Okay, so the waves cannot be seen, the sound waves one cannot see. So once you cannot see the sound waves, so that means there is something which is in this universe, in this whole earthly reality, which is controlling the beings, which is beyond the power of I, which is beyond the power of this I that we have right now. So if you will see, uh, these sounds that had been like very popular in this reality in the recent times, specifically from the entertainment industry that we have right now, because it is a very big business. It's a business of influencers, it is business of fame, it is a business which is like generating like millions of dollars, with one song, or with and millions of views at the same time, and it becomes like a very big popular thing in the reality. So people are prone to such sounds, or people are like projected to those sounds at this moment, or exposed to those sounds which are really not healthy for their sense of hearing, which is not healthy for their brain, which is not healthy for their functionality of the whole system. Just like some vibration can actually interfere with their system, which beings are not aware of right now. And at the same time, with the same frequency, everything is being controlled in this reality. So music industry had been controlling two ways. One, with the frequency, like the frequency like 440 hertz sounds that they're creating, they're producing in this whole reality. And at the same time, now with albums and everything coming up on social media, earlier on television. So with that, they have given that a visual thing also. So with false low sounds, false sounds, the wrong sounds that they have given, and then at the same time they're giving a wrong projection of the same sound, the wrong image of that same sound. So with that, people are like trapped in this reality in double way. But people, because they had been exposed to this sound from the very beginning, like when television came in the early like 50s, like mid 40s 50s. So in so that time, people were like exposed to those all sounds. And then this uh, whole DJ system came up, and then the CDs came and up, and sounds became more and more like popular in this reality. So sound means music. Whatever is coming up as sound is music. Whatever you produce from the mouth is sound. So people, because they had been exposed to these sounds which they are not even aware of, so they are not aware that they are actually trapped in this reality with the frequency which is tuning them to certain sounds. And even if you ask, let's say in the music industry, if you ask the music teachers, or the people who had been like ruling the music industry so far, specifically in the movie industry, So those who are producing like such music in the times now, so they are not even aware that what exactly they are producing, and they, because they are given a world standard from someone. If you ask them that why are you using this specific 440 hertz or these sounds or these scales, so they don't know, they have no idea about it. Like we have even if you remember, we have discussed these with so many people. So if you will ask them why are you using this scale, because it is well acknowledged, approved, socially approved system, so that is why they are using. So that standard is set, so everyone has to produce music on that only, but nobody wants to break it, because then their music is not approved by the authorities or the people who had been like musical gurus, or the people who are validating these things. And then they are setting up the standards in a very wrong way. So those musics which they have produced, they are accepting only that same scale, same set of frequencies. They are not allowing any other frequency, although the nature has all the frequencies. If you listen to the sound of a cuckoo, or listen to the sound of a bumblebee, or you listen to the sound of an elephant, okay, or you listen to the sound of the running water, the crackling sounds of the leaves in a forest. So these, or the sound of the cricket in a deep forest. These are all different sounds. So these are all different frequencies altogether. So like Brahmari. So people had been doing Brahmari pranayam. Okay, they had been trying to produce that Brahmari sound, but nobody is trying to realize what is exactly the Brahmari sound. So I remember when I was sitting outside under the guava tree, and there was a honeybee on my shoulder, because I had always been fond of music from the very early years of my life. So when I heard that, I could actually relate that it is the first note of the scale, like 144 hertz. In the 144 hertz, it's the very beginning scale, the first note. So that is what are the real frequencies, not what the musical instruments are created nowadays. So musical instruments also like are created on a very different frequencies nowadays. The base core frequency is very wrong. Although there had to be different frequencies, there had to be all new frequencies, but and different frequencies for different expressions. Now in this, if you will see in the sound system also, now the rag, okay, the expression, what you call as expression. So what is rag? Rag has to be different frequency. The say rag, now people want to fix up their scale of singing, because there had been like people who have set up in the last 100 200 years those scales to educate people on the like a degree level or on the certificate level, allowing them to just sing in the same scale. Like one person will fix up a scale and they will only sing in the same scale. But the same scale means the same frequency will not have the same expression on the, like same effect on the being. It is not create the similar effect on the being. Let's say some rag has to be in some different scale, some rag has to be in different scale. The scales also, like the scales change. Let's say you change the notes of the scales, the minor notes, like komal, or the komal notes.
Tivra.
Yeah, komal, tivra. So the komal notes will have a different effect, so there has to be some different
Yes.
milder scale, but there has to be in the exact right frequency. And then the major scales where you talk about like aggression, okay, maybe something like rag bhairav, okay, so there has to be some higher major scale. So because the range of a being is like fixed, and they are given that same education that you can only sing in the same scale, you cannot upgrade your scale or something like that. So they are all singing on the same frequency, so they're not changing the frequency at all. Although the nature has a different frequency, the phenomena in the nature, they have a different frequency. So everything changes with the
And
frequency. Similarly, the rag also creates a different effect. So rag is a combination of notes only. It's a combination of notes. So in the ancient times, the music that they were producing, it was on the frequency of nature. Like they will take the note of cuckoo, or they will take the note of bumblebee, and then they will try to uh, sing certain rag, because that has to give some different effect on the beings. Like suppose if you sing the rag Todi, okay, or if you sing let's say any or like Purya Dhanashri. So these rag will make the being like more mellowed, calm, okay, more into like virha expression, the expression of longing, separation. But at the same time, if you sing Bhim Palasi, okay, so it will have a
More
different expression.
energetic.
It will be more energetic. So that is why the ragas were there. That is why the sound system was put up in a different way. But the frequencies has to be different. It cannot be only on like 432 hertz. Also cannot be fixed just like 432 hertz or any one
And
frequency. Yeah.
the ragas were used to invoke nature also, like rains were caused by singing certain raga. Is that
Yes,
correct? Is
yes,
that
yes, absolutely. Because the rag, let's say the rag Megh or Megh Malhar,
Ji.
so that has to be on certain frequency. And you have seen that if I'll sing that frequency, and we have witnessed rains, we have witnessed certain phenomena, and many times that has happened in the last couple of years. So this is how people have to realize that sound has a very different effect on their body. It has a different expression. It creates a different vibe in them, but the frequencies has to be corrected, not the music which is now produced in the world just for entertainment, or which doesn't even age. It is for like few days. It doesn't, and whatever is temporary, it is all like earthly, and or it doesn't have any long life. So that is why the sounds which had been like produced from the initial period, from the adikal, so that has more effect on beings than the sounds that are produced right now. And people have to realize the frequency, because the frequency what they are speaking, the frequency that they're producing out of their mouth, that frequency also has to be corrected. Because if they don't correct that frequency, so then that frequency will create certain effect on other beings also. It will have different effect on the beings, because ultimately your body is like all panchmabhut. Your body is the five elements put together, earthly body, and then the five element being the body, it is producing certain sounds. So those sounds has to be proper. Those sounds has to be like appropriate, and has to have some divine frequency, than just singing anything without any knowing, or without any gravity to it. So that is why you see the music that we have right now on earth, it is so boring. And at the same time, people have no interest in the classical music, also in the Shastriya Sangeet. That is why the youngsters are losing interest in Shastriya Sangeet, because the Shastriya Sangeet that is being produced is just like too dull, because the frequency itself is too dull. It is too depressing. The frequency, the 440 hertz that they use the scale, or for related to that similar frequency that they use, that all is very dull and it is very depressive. So that is why there is no energizing effect in that. There is no enhancement. There is no evolution in that.
we uh, we have seen, like, as we started with that, music has been an integral part in this journey of this spirituality. If we talk about Meera, Kabir, Nanak, I mean, they have produced such great music, also. And we've also seen beautiful voices, like Lata Mangeshkar was there, and like voices that were great. How could they have used that voice to help humanity, help themselves? Or what did they even do with that voice? If somebody is
Okay.
gifted with a very good voice, how should they use
Yeah.
it, and what should they
Okay.
do?
So the first thing, Vinita, we have to realize here is that whatever talent someone has, let's say someone has a singing talent, because we're talking of music, or let's say someone has a singing like dancing talent, or maybe any other art form, if anyone knows. Okay. Firstly, one should know that why someone is given that art form. Okay. Like you mentioned the names of Meera, Guru Nanak, you know. So those were the beings who knew that they have to use that talent for their evolution, and they have to get out of this plane. They have not used to just become popular in this reality. They didn't use it in a wrong way. They have not sold their talent. Whatever is sold in this reality has to be some soul thing. Soul is sold in this reality. That is what beings have to realize. And the talent that you have, the gift that you are given, so that gift should become like a catalyst for your evolution. If that gift is not becoming catalyst, so that means that gift is of no use. So because the gift is used for what? The gift is used just for becoming more settled in the reality. And then at the same time, the people who had been singing for this industry, the Bollywood or Hollywood or music industry independently, so they have used always sang those all, you know, wrong sounds, all wrong sounds, which has kept people in some imagery of you know, becoming a part of some movie. People think they are now becoming part of such movie or something. They become like heroes or heroines, so they feel like that. So it is all acting. So it is acting. No doubt people have enjoyed in that era, because it was something new that has been introduced when in the, like, in the 40s and 50s and then 60s, and all those decades went by thereafter. So all those things people have enjoyed that time, but without knowing that what they have to do actually. And that was the period when people were actually doomed. that was the that was the real period when people were doomed. Now you see, like I mentioned many times, that there was a period on earth when there were people who were speaking Sanskrit. There were Sanskrit speaking beings. There was a time, and then suddenly you see there was a shift. Post Mughal era, there was a shift when there were people who were not even able to, like, write even a small alphabet.
Basic.
Yeah, even basics were not there. So that is how the reality is like completely reversed in that era. And that is how this whole movie industry started, you know, becoming very popular in Bharat also. And then from there the music industry also grew, and today we don't have even proper sounds. We don't have even proper sounds. So if there are no proper sounds, so what sounds will have the effect on nature? So there will be no effect, because the nature is like completely unhappy with beings, how they have treated nature in the last, like, let's say, 5 decades or in a century. So they have actually misused nature. They have corrupted nature. They have spoiled, destroyed nature and all natural resources, or all beings, all natural beings, all animals, birds, forests, river streams. So why would nature, you know, give any response to any being? So there will be no response, because the beings have not actually approached nature with the right way. So that is how the whole thing is reversed. Earlier, there were beings. So whatever we have, the stories in the scriptures. So those stories always mention about those beings who had some level of consciousness, who had some spirit in them. And the spirit was not just to settle in this reality or become more and more better in resources here or gathering things here. Today, people, if they have some gift, they say use your gift, polish it, and use it in some industry. But people,
Get some returns.
yeah. So beings like Mira has not used it. They have used it in a actual way, in a real way, because people are not realizing what exactly they are part of, what reality they are living in. So that is what beings are not realizing. So music has a very different effect on people if it is produced in the right way, if it is created in the right manner, because music is sound, and sound is light, sound is vibration, sound is frequency. So every frequency has some effect, not like only, even if people, because people think 432 is like going to work only, but there are other frequencies as well. So there are more frequencies. So because each element has some frequency, and in that frequency band also there is a different spectrum. So like Mooladhar has some frequency, so earth element has some frequency. So water element Swadhisthana has some frequency. So the core frequency remains the same. Firstly, one has to learn from somewhere. One has to begin from somewhere. That is what music has a bigger role to play. And then the words that you speak also becomes like a melody. It also becomes like music because the words are full of good sounds, good music. So that has a different effect on beats. Yeah.
We the music in the music industry, devotional music is also a very big industry.
Yeah.
There are so many devotional singers. As you rightly mentioned, that everything is produced in 440 hertz. So I don't know how that devotional music also is helping
Okay.
uh, human.
Yeah. So
And
because there are a
again,
lot of
where should one learn? What should
correct,
one do? Where should
correct.
they start singing?
Yes, yes, absolutely. See, first thing is for everyone has to start with the basics, very basic. Okay, so for basic also there is some sounds. There are certain sounds which everyone has to learn. So we call that like swar vignan. Okay, swar vidya. So one has to start from somewhere. So if you know how to produce the right sounds, how to actually speak in the right sound, so that is from where one has to start, and that had been like a elementary education, which is completely not there at all. Like in schools, the schools that we have right in India right now. So those schools have always taught like a, e, u, a, I, So they have taught these sounds, but those sounds are not taught in the right frequency. Earlier, they will play some sound, or they will actually pick up the sound of maybe a bumblebee, and then they will pick up that scale. Okay, or the pancham swar of the cuckoo they will sing on. So then that is how they will attune themselves to the right frequency, the frequency of the nature. Okay. And you see in the devotional music also, we did one experiment with cow. If you remember, in Swargpuri we did that experiment with cows. So when we played that 440 hertz like chant, I will not name that chant, but the chant was played in front of the cow, and the cow was like behaving very aggressive. Cow was behaving very aggressive, and it was trying to hit the beings. But the moment they shifted the frequency to the divine frequency that was played, immediately the behavior was shifted. The cow's behavior was more calm, more subtle than what it was on 440 hertz music. So that is the effect. Because the music that people listen, they think it is just like anything. It is just for entertainment purposes. But the sound that is going inside you, it is going to have some effect on you. So whatever that is why युक्ताहार विहारस्ते युक्त चेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्त स्वप्नावबोधस्ते yogo bhavati dukha. So the simple sutras are given like ahar has to be yukta. Yukta means each sense is to be corrected for the ahar. Sarvadwareshu de prakashanasme. So her from each door, that the doors, that entry points that we have and the exit points that we have. So from each point there has to be light. So light means the right sound also then, because light is sound and sound is light. So the right frequency has to be there. So devotional music, on the name of devotion, that is not really like devotional at all. One should not lend their ears to that devotional music, because if they listen to that devotional music, whatever they call devotional, because firstly the studio settings are on 440 hertz, and then the musical instruments are attuned at 440 hertz, and then the singers are also singing at 440 hertz. So whatever words they put, what you call song is like mixture of words on sang on that frequency. So whatever they are going to sing, it is going to harm them. And because the sounds cannot be seen, so the entertainment could be for a minute, because the mind can be involved in that jugglery or in that expression. Okay, yes, we are getting some devotion, something, but it will have some effect, but later on it has a bigger harm also. It has a very big thing like coming up. So those sounds have not like attuned the beings on the right frequency. So attunement had been a very popular word. Like anyone had been talking about attunement. So, but attunement to what? Because the attunement to the frequencies that they had been listening to, like anyone playing any YouTube music and thinking they're meditating on a divine frequency or something, but unknowingly or knowingly, they're exposing themselves to the wrong frequencies, the wrong sounds. And everything is sound. Everything is sound. If you listen to any being, there is a sound. You're listening to that being's sound. So whatever words you are listening to someone, or you're lending your ears to, that means you're listening to that sound. And being is attuned at certain frequency. So you're listening to that frequency basically. Like I've said, like one being is equal to one audio box.
One
One
sound
being is one
box.
sound box. So so they are producing certain sound because they are attuned to certain frequency. So it is as simple as that. So music has to be corrected. And those who are really interested in their evolution, their progress, they have to actually like uh, listen to the right sounds, and then they have to practice the right ucharan. Ucharan has to be also corrected. That is absolutely required, which had been a key role, like key part of the curriculum in the gurukuls. These had been the key things which are not there anymore.
Not there. Yeah, unfortunate times, I'd say, because all this music is being played on loudspeakers in the name of devotion, and everybody is getting attuned to the wrong frequency. Um, what would you suggest is the
I would
starting
simply
point
say
to bring
for
the change?
and at the time that we have right now on earth, so this can be the time of like good opportunity also for
Mm,
like for a being who want to really progress, who want to free himself, liberate himself. For them it could be like a very opportunistic time, because they'll have a lot of exposure, because knowing what is happening and then correcting yourself, it's a bigger thing to do. Because when no, not like many people are doing, so it becomes very easy, because later on everyone will start doing, it will become like a trend. But at this moment when everyone is not doing, it is an opportunity in front of the beings. So firstly they should attune to the right frequency, they should like expose themselves to the right sounds, they should listen to the right beings. So that's all, that is the beginning. And then the basic discipline has to be there in life, which I've always emphasized upon. So once basic discipline is there, then the further things can be added. Before the basic discipline, there's nothing else to talk, because even if you listen, then it can create an excitement for some time, but later on there's nothing which will come out of it. It'll not serve any purpose, because until the being is not exposed to the right discipline, the being doesn't listen to the right knowledge, the being doesn't correct himself or herself, before that there is nothing. And then for music there are certain frequencies which beings have to listen. And those frequencies, once they begin listening to that and going to the nature and listening to birds, to the running water, to the sounds of the animals. So these are the real sounds, because nobody is there to give them any scale. So nobody has corrected any cuckoo to the approved scale to sing on. So that is why they are there at least on the right frequency. So that is what beings should expose themselves more to, so that they have some exposure to the right frequency. Because today, if you will see beings, what do they do? If they meditate on, let's say, if they want a nature music, okay, so what do? They play on a YouTube, they play the bird sound on YouTube, or they play some like running water sound or rainwater sound on like YouTube. That is not real sound, that is artificial sound. So artificial sound is equal to artificial practices, artificial discipline, artificial intelligence, artificial being. So there is no real. So there has to be real sounds, real nature, real discipline, real practice, real intelligence. So that is what one should begin with.
grateful me for sharing these nuggets of wisdom, I'd say, which is not known to many. Everybody is just randomly practicing. I'm really, really grateful to be learning in thy shelter, learning about music, how it's a great opportunity for us to utilize music in this journey. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Grateful for